Okay, I don't know why I did that. It's not a Rambo movie. Anyway, what's up, guys? It is Rob. And I am back with a brand new response video. I'm in a new location. I'm downstairs because the lighting is better down here instead of up in the movie room where I have the wood paneling and the white / yellow light bulbs. It's terrible. My lighting is terrible up there, so I'm down here. I have a chair to sit in actually, and you know, the lighting's a lot better to show off what I have. So yeah, this is a response to Chucky Doll, who did a video about movies that he thought were gonna suck but ended up liking them. And I thought that was a pretty good topic. I actually have a huge stack here of movies that I want to mention. You know, maybe I saw the trailer and I just thought it looked mediocre, or just it didn't look very good, or I heard that they were coming out with the movie and I did not like the idea, but I ended up liking the movie. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do here. I'm not going to do like a top 10 or anything. I'm just going to show you what I have here, or what I want to talk about each of these films. So hope you guys enjoy. First one here is, of course, Riddick. This is the newest film in the franchise. I was a fan of Pitch Black, but when I saw the trailer to this, I'm just like, this just looks like average, like mediocre stuff. I really liked this film. I thought it was badass. Like, I honestly liked Vin Diesel in this role. And I can't say that much about Vin Diesel. Other than the Fast and the Furious stuff, I really, you know, there's just not much that I like him in. But this movie was actually pretty good, and I don't get the hate. I think it gets unnecessary hate. But anyway, that's the first one. When I saw the trailer to this movie, I thought it just looked like your average shark film, but I ended up liking it, and it is the Meg. To me, this is the best looking megalodon shark that I've seen in a movie. Being that it got like a theatrical release, I think it helped, and it, you know, the budget was obviously bigger than some of these megalodon independent horror film shark, you know, like shark films that you see where the shark looks like, you know, like a sixth grader did it, you know, like it looks like a cartoon or just bad CG. The CG in this looked really, really good. I was very impressed, and the camera angles were very good too, the cinematography. So this is one that really surprised me. So I ended up liking that one. Here's one that, the fact that it came out, you know, like early in the year, I was actually surprised that it was good. Because usually around that time when movies come out, they do bad. I mean, that's just kind of the way things work. But not for this one. Underwater. I saw the trailer and I'm like, it kind of reminds me of Sphere with Dustin Hoffman. But there's actually more to this movie than what the trailer shows. But Kristen Stewart was actually really good. So this was one that surprised me a lot. This one, now here's the thing. I didn't know how to feel about this movie when it was first announced, because they announced that Ben Affleck was going to be the new Batman. And I'm like, it ain't going to work. I'm like, you're talking about the guy who played Daredevil, and you're going to want him to play Batman? I'm like, no, it's not going to work. No way. And it is Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. It's the Ultimate Edition. I freaking love this movie. I think Ben Affleck is one of the best Batmans. My favorite will always be Keaton. Keaton is my boy. Keaton is my Batman. I like Affleck better than Bale, though. But this movie is very, very good. I like the pacing. I think the story's great. The Ultimate Edition provides us with some more answers to things that were answered in the, you know, theatrical cut. I do like the addition of Wonder Woman. Doomsday was shoehorned in there, and I agree with that. But it's a good movie. Here's a remake that I was totally against, because I still think the 90 miniseries is still the best, and it's just one of those things that you can't outdo or even try to beat because it's so good. It. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, I'll give him credit. He had huge shoes to fill when he tried to be Pennywise, compared to Tim Curry, who is still the best in my opinion. But Bill Skarsgård, his Pennywise he tried to make it his own, which I can appreciate. There were some things that were similar to the miniseries, but all in all, I think they said that this one was closer to the book, which doesn't make a difference in my opinion. If you read the book and it's a bad book, who cares if the movie is closer to the book, because you don't want the movie to be bad. So I could care less when people say, well, it's closer to the book. I don't care. I'm just judging this by the film. But I thought the film, the casting was very good. I liked the kids in this, and it was kind of creepy. That whole Georgie scene in the beginning really took me by surprise. I was not expecting them to show that. His arm getting bit off, and he's sitting there bleeding. I was like, wow, they're really going for it. Here's a movie that I thought it was just going to be, the TV show was so good, and I grew up with the TV show. I'm just like, this movie doesn't have any, the original cast members or anything like that. I'm just like, I don't know. But I ended up really liking this movie, and it is Power Rangers. Not Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but Power Rangers. I do like Elizabeth Banks as Rita. I liked her take on it. I thought there should have been more Power Rangers stuff, because you don't really get the Power Rangers doing stuff until, almost the third act anyway. And it sucks we're not getting a sequel to it, because I feel like it's a waste now. Yeah, that sucks. Bryan Cranston as Zordon was a fantastic addition. And in the beginning, you get to see a little bit of Zordon, who was the Red Ranger, and Rita was the Green Ranger. I love that. I wanted to see more of that action. I wanted to see more of Zordon's story. I wanted to see more of Rita's story. I wish they would have had more flashbacks and stuff like that. That was very, very interesting to me. There were some things I didn't like the putties and stuff in Goldar. But all in all, I thought it was very fun. And it really, it really entertained me to the point where I'm just like, this was good. So here's one that's not really part of the mainstream, even though the story does exist within the mainstream. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now this is kind of like the side story, so Star Wars stuff like Solo. But the story to this fits between Episode 3 and Episode 4. So you get to see the whole Death Star thing. The guy who planned to build the Death Star, and what happened to the people trying to steal the plans and stuff like that. So. You actually know the outcome, but the best scene for me is Vader when he starts to go berserk on the rebels. Yeah, there's a couple things I didn't like, but other than that, this was a very good. I actually like this movie better than any of the new Star Wars films, like Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. This one I put above all those. Here's one I believe Chucky Dell had on his list, and that is The Nun. I don't believe this film is as bad as people say. It takes a little bit to get into it, but again, this is a film that I wasn't really excited for. I saw the trailer. I'm just like, it just looks whatever, and I ended up really liking it. I think they did a good job explaining the nun and what where it comes from and the whole story behind that. I think Vera Farmiga's daughter is in this. What's her name? Tessa Farmiga, and that's how you say it. Here's another one that I thought was really good. Ouija Origin of Evil. The first Ouija movie was crap. Here's another one, The Shallows. Again, I thought this movie was just going to be a generic shark movie. I was not interested. I'm tired of generic shark movies. I'm tired of crappy shark movies. This one was really good. I did like the fact that it was like a survival film, with Blake Lively, and the shark looked really good too. So this was one that I, have to eat my words, where I'm just like, this movie's gonna suck. But so here's a movie I thought was unnecessary. Even Ralph Macchio said that. Ralph Macchio did not really think this movie should have been made because he considers the Karate Kid films to be sacred. And I understand that and I agree with him. But they made a huge mistake with the marketing of this film, and it is the Karate Kid remake. This has nothing to do with Karate Kid. This shouldn't even be called Karate Kid. It should be called the Kung Fu Kid. The only reason they put Karate Kid on here is to get the butts in the seats and to advertise it that way, to market it that way, and make more money that way. Now, you know, it has a cool story. I like Jaden Smith in this. I like Jackie Chan. They go to China. The story does kind of change from the original Karate Kid, even though there are specific scenes that are almost exactly the same as the original. Whether they're paying homage to the original or copying, I don't know. But it was different enough for me to end up liking it. And I do like the martial arts or the kung fu that happens in here. But again, it's kung fu. It's not karate, so you don't call him the Karate Kid. So that was my problem with it. Here we have Rampage. Another movie that I thought looked stupid from the trailers. But I ended up having a really good time with this film. I do like the monsters. It's based on the NES video game. The Rock was, you know, like he always is in every movie. You know, you have The Rock walking in front of these huge monsters. It's just like The Rock is just your typical, you know, action star that gets beat up a lot or falls off things and ends up, you know, just getting a few scratches because he's a tough guy. The thing is, The Rock has a huge ego, and I understand that. But I just kind of get tired of his movies sometimes. But this one, it was actually good. So, Hellraiser Judgment. Honestly, when I heard this was being made, I was like, okay. Coming off of Revelations, which sucked, I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like, come on. After Hellraiser 3, every Hellraiser movie seemed to go downhill. I thought Hellraiser 1 through 3 are my favorites. Bloodline was okay. Other than that, everything else kind of sucks. Hellraiser Judgment was great. I freaking loved Hellraiser Judgment. And you have Paul T. Taylor, who played Pinhead. You could tell he studied Doug Bradley's moves. He acts just like Doug Bradley in this movie. You also have Heather Langenkamp in this. Very, very fun Hellraiser film, and gory, bloody. Just yeah, this one is a good one. So if you want to see, you know, if you want a Hellraiser film that, you know, if you've seen the first 3 or maybe the first 4 and you want a good Hellraiser film after that, that's the one right there. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Another movie that I thought was going to suck and it was unnecessary from the trailers. I was not interested at all. I was like the lowest of the low. I was just like, I don't even care about this film. I ended up liking it. I ended up really, really liking this movie. It was entertaining. It was fun. It was just high energy in this film. So I was really surprised by how much I liked it. Another remake that I was kind of against, but I ended up... this has actually turned out to be one of my favorite remakes, and that is Evil Dead. Of course, Bruce Campbell only has a little tiny cameo, but it's not his story. It's not about Ash. It's about this girl. And what I liked about this is that Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell both had their hands in this. They knew how to make a movie, and they proved it here. The blood, the gore effects were excellent, top-notch, real effects, okay? There might have been some CG here and there, but the effects were just top-notch. I really, really loved... I love this movie. It's great. Coming off of Annabelle, which was terrible, we have Annabelle Creation, which totally revised the series. I really enjoyed this one. Because the first Annabelle was so god-awful. Here's one that when I heard they were making this, I'm like, why? Coming off of 7, which I thought concluded the series because we don't have Paul Walker with us anymore. Rest in peace, Paul Walker. I didn't think it was going to be any good because I'm like, we're not going to have him. and it is The Fate of the Furious, which is the 8th installment of the Fast and the Furious movies. I ended up really liking this movie. Even though the plot doesn't make any sense, it never does with these movies. These movies become far-fetched, over the top, but that's what makes them good, in my opinion. It makes the best action set pieces. You know, I kind of like Dominic's story in this. I think it's like one of the best stories since, I don't know, he's just kind of been not really in the limelight, so to say, but I like this one. I thought The Rock was kind of useless in this film, just like he was in 7. But anyway, The Fate of the Furious really surprised me. Another one that surprised me is The Dark Tower. A lot of people didn't care for this film. I was one to judge it before I saw it. I was just like, this just doesn't look good. Like Matthew McConaughey is the Dark Man, like the Man in Black. I'm like, I just don't see it. And Idris Elba, I don't know, the gunslinger. This movie was very entertaining. I do like all the nods to the Stephen King movies. Like there's a nod to It. There's a nod to The Shining. A whole bunch of stuff in here. Matthew McConaughey was fantastic. His acting, I've never seen it. One of my favorite Matthew McConaughey movies is probably Frailty, but he was very good in this. Very, very, very good. So, now here's one I'm just like, okay, how many Batman movies do we need? How many times do we need to tell the story, the origin story of Batman, or Bruce Wayne? His parents get shot in front of him, then he takes the mantle of Batman. How many times do we need to know that? So I was totally against this movie. And plus the title, I'm just like, what? Batman Begins. The start of the Nolan trilogy. I freaking love this. Honestly, everyone's going to say The Dark Knight is their favorite, okay? Out of the Nolan trilogy. This one is my favorite, Batman Begins. A great origin story. It goes deep into the origins on how he became, how he came to fight. He studied criminals. He even went to jail to study criminals and stuff. Bale's voice is the best out of all the Nolan movies, the Batman movies. His voice is the best here. It doesn't sound like he smoked 1,000 cigarettes. I like his suit. I just like everything about this movie. Katie Holmes, I like her instead of Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yeah, this movie, it's great. It's a great origin story to Batman. And I think a lot of people kind of, they don't really care about this movie when it comes to Nolan. It's either The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises, and I hated The Dark Knight Rises, but Batman Begins, awesome. Now here's another one that I was totally against, and you guys probably remember. I didn't want this movie to be made. Bumblebee. It wasn't directed by Michael Bay, thank God, but Michael Bay still had his hand in the pie. But this is how you do a Transformers movie, people. I was totally wrong. When I saw John Cena being cast, I'm like, this movie's going to suck. John Cena didn't bother me in this movie. It was set in the 80s. I think the Transformers looked like Transformers. They looked like G1 Transformers, how they're supposed to look. The Cybertron scenes look fantastic. Optimus Prime and everybody. Haley Steinfeld, I really liked. I thought she was very good. This is the ultimate Transformers movie right here. This is a way to do it. This should have been done in the first place. The first Transformers movie, directed by Michael Bay, is not bad. It is not a bad movie. So, I just want to put that out there. It's not bad, but this one is my favorite. The last one I'm going to show is The Curse of Chucky. That's another one that I didn't think was going to be any good, because coming off of, like, okay, you have Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, it's like, come on. I'm just like, what are they going to do here? The movie, The Curse of Chucky, went back to the roots until the ending. You just can't leave it out, can you? You just can't do without Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly has to be in everything, doesn't she? You just couldn't do it. You couldn't leave her out of the equation. You couldn't. When can Chucky go back to being a badass by himself? Why does he need Jennifer Tilly? He shouldn't have to. My favorite movies are Child's Play 1, Child's Play 2, and Child's Play 3. I put Curse of Chucky on there as my next favorite, because 99% of the movie is great until that Jennifer Tilly part pissed me off. It didn't ruin the movie, it just made me mad. We do not need Jennifer Tilly. Get out of here. Get out of the franchise. Anyway, that's my list of movies that I actually like now.